Howdy doody everybody, my name is Rocky and today I'm coming back at you with a White Star review. God, it's been so long since I've done one of these. So the first thing I want to touch base on is that it's important to note that I'm no longer with Void Corp. I was with Void Corp for quite some time there, almost a year. It was like 8 months or something like that. I don't know how long it was. It was a long time. But I left for bigger horizons. It was on good terms for sure. I love the people that are in that corporation. I'm actually still in the Discord, but I did leave the corp altogether. So I'm not going to sit here and justify why I did that, but I'm coming back at you today with a 15 versus 15 match between System Shock and S.B.D. System Shock being the corporation that I'm with now. So the bland looking Excel document that you're seeing on my screen is the comparison breakdown of the match. So it's important to note that they did have a guy come in late to the match. I thought they were outnumbered 15-14, but the guy did actually show up. But he showed up like X amount of hours within the match. So anyways, when we're looking just very quickly at the math here, we do see a... I don't want to say we were over-teching them. I think it was pretty decent. I will let you guys come to your own comparison with that. I think the flaws in their builds was the passive shields. Passive and White Star is so last year. White Stars aren't even a year old, are they? I don't think so. Passives in White Star is a no-no in my opinion, and I think Mirror is way too expensive for the bang. Wait. Yes. And we've also got 7 Sanctuaries, which is a huge detriment to a White Star. If you're bringing Sanctuary in, you are pretty much already at a loss. I don't think we've lost a match versus people who bring Sanctuary ever. Anyways, this is not the first White Star I've done with System Shock. We did face some big names. These guys were undefeated for quite some time. And then we did lose the first match. I was a part of the first loss. I was not the reason. Don't blame it on me. Our fearless leader, JJ, went, I don't know where he went. He just stopped responding everywhere. And I really hope he's doing good because nobody's heard from him since the middle of that White Star. So anyways, it's not the first one. This is a couple in, and I've decided we're going to review this. It's probably going to seem one-sided because I'm going to pick on S.B.D. in a lot of things, a lot of mistakes they made. I don't know if it's communication, if they're new to. I don't want to say they're new to White Star because they're up there. Like what is their rank? They are. Let me just. Oops, I didn't need to go home for that. Oh yeah. We are doing leaderboards, aren't we? Top corpse S.B.D. is, there's Legion. S.B.D. is 13. They are higher up on the scale than us. So it's definitely not the first rodeo, but they made some mistakes. I don't know if they brought their B squad, whatever it may be. But anyways, that's enough rambling. Dear God, let's get back into this. Alright, so now that we get the boring math stuff out of the way, we're going to go ahead and look at the battlefield here. We've got 2 level 5s and a level 10 planet, and we've got 2 level 5s and a 10 planet, and the gates are pretty evenly spaced out, of course, so everything is nice and even on this playing field. And we're going to speed this up by 20 times. I really wish they would allow me to speed this up basically a tick at a time, but you've pretty much got 20 or nothing. 0 to 100. Even with the performance turned up in my Vox player, it is super laggy. But you see everything unfolding here. I'm not sure if you guys are able to get a sense of what happened, but we're going to break that down for you. We're going to do both sides, both the enemy and my side, and just see how everything unfolded more in depth without trying to drone on for too long. But there's a lot of key points that I want to go over in this match. Some very funny moments, I have to say, in my opinion at least. Probably not so funny for the losing team, but you can see here we trollololed them at the end after collapsing. So, boom, we are finished the match, 37-4. So if that's all you were here for, there you go, we're done. You can go ahead and close out the video. For those of you that want to see what the heck happened, we're going to go ahead and review that right about now. Alright, so anyway, focusing on the mining of the enemy. There's a couple weird things that happen here that I want to just go over out loud, other than in my head or talking to myself in my basement, because I don't quite know what happened here. Maybe somebody can clarify in the comments. But anyways, you're going to notice we have some Genesis spam happening. Basically what's happening in the higher tier maps I'm playing, you've got miners with teleport and Genesis and enrich, and they'll come to the sector, and right on the border they'll go ahead and pop the Genesis, do a teleport back to the gate, refresh their mods, come back in, and that's how you just get that hydro pumping. That's how you do it, bro. That's how we do it in the big leagues. But anyways, we've got a couple weird things happening here. So we have a miner that has Genesis, enrich, and teleport. And it looks like everyone has Genesis at this point. No. I don't know if there was probably a communication breakdown is I think what happened here, because both these guys have enrich and teleport, and it looks like they enriched there, and he didn't enrich, but he also didn't teleport, and he didn't teleport until on his way back. So I don't know what happened here. We've also got this guy not using time warp because he's in a time warp. Why wasn't there teleport on this miner? I don't know. So he's going to float back to the gate and waste a bit of time there, a few hours or an hour at least with the time warp. And then we got a couple miners heading for these outer sectors here. Instead of being a little more efficient in doing their Genesis spam with the first three, they sort of outreached a little bit. Now, I'm saying they outreached a little bit because when we do our Genesis spam in my current corp, we do the immediate sectors first until they're dry, and then maybe we'll do something a little further out, but that's getting a little too risky because your teleport's out of range at that point. So I don't know why they pushed so far out in this case. Now, we're also going to cover that with this stack of battleships, but anyways, let's focus a little back on the miner situation. So the last thing I want to talk about is coming right about here. Mr. Man here decided to teleport before he got into the sector. Now, this was an obvious mistake, and it likely happened because of the time warp. But that doesn't make sense because you would be further in the sector if the time warp affected you. So I don't know what happened here, but you're going to notice this guy's also coming back. So was this a mistaken waypoint? This seems like a waste of time here. Let's see if anything happens with him. So we've got two mistakes that I think may be mistakes. I don't know what happened here. So here's the teleport, and he's got crunch and boost. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe it would have been more beneficial for this guy to Genesis and enrich, and then for that guy to stick around mining boost. There could have been probably a better way to play this out, this mistake. So we've got more guys coming back. Genesis teleport burned out. Wait. What's going on in the world today? Oh, what? I was like, I gotta rewind this. Why did that guy have teleport burned and Genesis burned? But he was coming back to the gate because he teleported to the sector, Genesis, and ran back to the gate. I guess that works. Anyways, I'm being a real dick right now. I'm sorry. There's these things happening at the mining situation. It's not really coordinated, I think, is what's happening. Anyways, I'll stop nitpicking. The mining game could have been a lot better for you guys. For you guys, I'm assuming you guys are watching, but you're probably not. But anyways, they get a few things together here. They got some mining, some hydro building up, which is nice, great. If you could guard it properly, then it's a real asset. So I guess at this time, it was decided they were going to go for the level 5. They were bringing a battleship down to guard it that had dual laser, which is more of an offensive build, but whatever, it helps. And they decide to move everything in. So the big fault with that is going to be our battleship up here that's going to come in and just teleport. And this is a critical moment that cost these guys, in my opinion, cost them the match. Because they started to either move too soon, or there was no hindsight here, because hindsight is 2020. Did I use that right? But anyways, we have a battleship with level 5 barrier here, and these guys started moving in, and very well knowing that we had a teleport within range here. So let's let's unfold this and rewind and see what could have been done better. All right, so this is going to be a little twofold because I want to talk about how they let that happen, but also talk about the way they spread out and their choices about their battleship placement. So initially it looked okay, and they had some time warp going, so that was good. There was a bit of a gap there where they had no time warp on the majority of their battleships, which allows for some slow goings. But this here, this is a questionable thing, in my opinion. Again, everything expressed in this video is the opinion of the creator and not those of System Shock. But this here, what's the word? I'm not going to say arrogant. I don't know. Whatever the word I'm looking for in this small dictionary of mine. Basically, they thought we weren't going to go on the attack, I guess, and they went to go clear this big sector down here. I don't know. This is an interesting move. So this is going to tie up minimal 3 of their battleships, while the rest is left defending their squishies. Now, that's okay for the most part because they're not bringing a whole lot forward. They're bringing pretty much 1 squishy, so okay. But let's see here. This is a big move. Without time warp, that was a 10-hour move or more. So you're tying up a lot of battleships there. But then they brought in reinforcements for that move. Again, I'm not sure. So they felt good about having the 3 position here and the 2 position here. We had a pile of battleships waiting to get in this dirty. But we'll talk about the north and the south, sort of a separate thing, because what we're about to talk about here is the fact that we have nobody covering the hole. Got to cover that hole. So this guy's coming in a little late here, a little late to the party. Both these guys are on defensive duty, but we've got a hole here that needs to be filled, giggity. And, you know, Kilder finds that opportunity and just moves right in. So at this point, instead of maneuvering this gentleman, I guess, sorry, I don't mean to make pre-assumptions that that's a gentleman. Instead of positioning this guy to be better, I was about to say something silly there because there's no asteroids in this sector. So anyways, they made a good choice in turning this guy up, I guess, to defend. But the flaw in the defense, first of all, you know he's coming in for nothing but bad. Bad in your face. So look at the teleport on this. And essentially what you want to do at this point, if you've got plans to dump to this, you want to make sure that that teleport range is not going to be within there. And if it is, which it looks like it's going to be, don't move the squishies. For God's sake. They moved the squishies. And I don't know if there was a conversation that this was going to happen, this EMP. Maybe there was, but it didn't happen. Because ideally, you've got Kilder basically committed to this move. And he's got teleport pretty much to go anywhere, which is super dangerous. Believe me, I know. But you're going to know because it's going to take him 7 hours to do that. Well, sorry, with his time warp, it won't take him a full 7 hours. But they EMP way too late. Maybe it was a pre-EMP and the time warp messed up the timing. I don't know. But look at this. We've got committed ships and we've got a teleport range. Even though we're EMP'd, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because that teleport is in range. So I think at this point, the best bet at this very moment would have been to barrier. Now barrier is what, a level 5.
3 hours later.
Anyways, now that this timed out on me because I was trying to find the answer. I can't believe Wikia doesn't have the answer or even Hades' body. So anyways, I asked in the Discord. It's like over 8 hours. So let's look at this. So we're coming up, let's say about here. We get EMP'd. I mean, even at this point, okay, looking at this, we got a barrier level 5, we got 2 hours to the planet. What are these guys at? There are 4 hours to the planet. They got time warp on it. Now, of course, the time warp is going to affect the barrier, but anyways, you got an imminent threat here. So barrier up, protect those squishies. Let this become not a problem for you. But this hurt. Like, it felt real good to be on the other side of what just happened. But oh, it hurts to watch still right now. So we're going to talk about what's going on with this Alpha drone, or Delta rocket, rather. Alpha drone, come on. Anyway, so that's what happened and why it happened, in my opinion at least. Now, obviously, there's lots of stuff going on in the background. People not able to get to their phones, make changes, barrier, EMP, whatever. I get it. But that's what happened. That's why it happened. So let's look south. We're going to look south because I'm not going to rewind this again. We've already missed a point here. We've got this big group of battleships heading down here to clear out this sector for some god unknown reason. But what's happened here is we're advancing on the 10. Because we can tell the future, we know that they're going to go for the 5 because we're advancing on the level 10 planet, and that dual laser really couldn't do anything about me coming in because I wasn't coming in with anybody else. So because they chose to fight these sectors instead of seeing the imminent threat coming in, these two are stuck clearing out this this interceptor. Now, I mean, they could have just drugged the interceptor up to this sector. There's nothing really preventing that. If they would have only got a few ticks of damage anyways. I don't know how really relevant that would have been, but still focusing on this big move. At this point, these guys are scrambling. Why are they scrambling? They're not really outnumbered. Yeah, I guess technically they are outnumbered. Technically, that would be, I guess, 2, 4, 6. I can count, kids. On 4 match because you've got battleships tied up south trying to clear Serb. So let's see what happens here. So they clear the Serb. They're going to come in. Now we have lots of barrier EMPs going on here. It's actually quite hysterical. Oh, I'm laughing ahead because I know what happens here. So anyways, we're going to look at this. Let's just rewind this real quick. The first mod to be burned is barrier. We're going to barrier in place here because, well, sorry, my video cut out there. So barrier is the first mod to be used. It locks these guys in place because I guess it's to stop me from getting to this battleship, so it's not a 2v1. But you would want it to be a 2v1 because that person has dual laser. So I'm not really sure what the thought process is here. I'm trying to be analytical, but it seems to me that you would want this to happen. Now, unless the thought process was that we were going to EMP, but even if we were going to, it's going to happen whether you barrier or not. So, interesting. So, another barrier goes up. That's straight from our side. Cynical barriers stops everyone in their tracks because we've got a lot of incoming bogeys to the level 10. So they choose to do this. We got a rocket coming in, but because they've barriered, it stopped him from being within range of that rocket. So the rocket becomes wasteful. Maybe barrier a little bit later on that one. Be more aware of what's happening. So that is useless. Then we got the first EMP to go off, tagging one of his own. We got the guys coming from the south now. We got one guy hanging back. I guess the idea, because I've seen this match already, is that this guy's going to try and sneak around to come up here. But anyways, he hangs back, and we've got the guys coming in from the south. We got to teleport straight to level 10. That's okay. We have no squishies there. He can come 1v1 with his dual laser because there's not going to be 2 ships by the time he gets to teleport, I believe. Nope. So, at this point, we've still got EMP'd. And then we have another barrier. So stopping this guy from linking up here and stopping those rockets. But this is also what cracks me up right here. So you see this time warp little moon going on. And we've got an EMP coming. So right about there. So this guy decides to EMP. But he EMPs me right on the time warp line. So the EMP just happened. You're going to notice my timer is at 5 hours and 56 minutes. And his is at 6 hours and 4 minutes. Because I was barriered late, I get the effect of the time warp. And he does not. Because the center of my ship is on the line and his is not. So I'm going to come out of that EMP sooner than he is. And just give it to him in his face. So I think it probably would have been best for him to maybe burn this time warp here. to sort of even the playing field. But I don't think he noticed, because I didn't notice until like, I think it was until after I was EMP'd was done. So another EMP went off, but this EMP went off with no one inside it. Again, probably a timed EMP. Okay. So that was ineffective. Just basically EMP'd his entire crew with nobody inside it from our team. So great job. We have a dual laser sitting on the level 10 planet. Can't move because we got a barrier on him. And they've got another barrier gone up to keep anyone from moving, it seems. Fair enough. And then we have another teleport coming in from down here. So I guess the idea at this point was they're like, we can get behind these guys and we can really mess some stuff up because they got transports coming in already and we got to get ahead of this. They've already killed all of our hydro. Let's do this. Again, you see the stuff on the left. We'll focus at that in a second. So they get to teleport off. They're stuck in a barrier. But instead of breaking for the back line to get the squishies, which I mean, I don't know if they could have been done. They could have done anything with that. They decide to stay and fight. Stand their ground. There's honor in that. Except for you're about to get kicked right in the teeth. So here we go. This guy tries to take off, I believe. Yep. And barrier comes up, stops him. So I guess I was mistaken for what I just said. He did try to take off and run for the back line. The other guy didn't, though. So there wasn't a joint effort here. No joint communication. And anyways, 2v1 match here. Guy only has battery, so that's going to be a little outnumbered. What else we got going on here? An EMP. So we have an EMP happen, which stops us in our tracks. Good job. But no rockets. Incoming support from our side. And I don't know. I don't know why the EMP. So, lots of EMPs flying off everywhere. Everyone went EMP crazy. So he teleports out of here because he made a mistake. That guy gets crushed. Another EMP from our side on this one. Wait. Sorry. That wasn't from our side. That was his side. So he EMP'd to delay the inevitable. Is what that was. I'm not sure why. You got Sanctuary. I guess why not burn the mod? Let's burn the mod. So now we're going to focus on the north. And they did a pretty good attempt at defending us from the north. I think the most challenging part, from what I've seen at least, is the fact that we forced their assassin or assassins, if this dual laser... No, I wouldn't say that's an assassin build. Just the one here with the Delta. Yeah, force the assassin to become a defensive build. Trying to think of alternative ways they probably could have played that assassin, but ultimately... he was stuck playing a defensive role with no defensive mods, really. So yeah. So these guys double barrier, which is interesting. I don't know. I'm thinking at this point it probably would have been more beneficial for them to teleport backwards. To back it up. You gotta back that ass up. So we were in a pretty good spot here because the EMP was stuck here, not being able to EMP both the ships in place. If this guy would have brought EMP instead of Sanctuary, he didn't, and we could talk about ifs and buts all day long, but the fact is there was no EMP here, and EMP would have been so perfect to lock the assassins in place and basically give it to them in the face or get back. Well, like, Sanctuary is such a shitty mod in White Star. It's literally such a shitty mod. Why do people still bring it? Anyways, I'm not going to rant about that right now. I've talked enough about Sanctuary and White Stars. But anyways, because we don't have anything to really stop these guys from running amok, as soon as that barrier drops, I think again a futile mistake was likely not pursuing and sitting as if that barrier was going to last forever, knowing that the assassin was coming. right here. So could have played that better, maybe with a teleport, maybe start backpedaling a bit more. That gets to pass the line here, and the reason I've been focusing on that more than this is sort of because this was also a critical point where they lose a pretty big hefty amount of hydro. We got a rocket coming down, and that's gonna blow up just as the miner passes the hair here, and boom. So great effort on trying to teleport back in place, guys, but too little too late. That's how the North was won. We've got chips coming back in with mods. We got Leap, Destiny, Teleport. That's nice. That's a good build when you're in a position where you're coming down on some squishies to Leap Destiny, but I don't know about that build. So at this point, I'm not sure what the game plan was. This guy was getting eaten alive, but it doesn't matter because he's got Sanctuary, so he's safe. He's not going to lose any money, so that's really important that he's not going to lose any money. So now they decide we're going to go north. That's what we're going to do. There's some relics of north, and we're going to take a little bit of misfits, and we're going to chew up the north relics. We got some rockets coming in with support. It's good. Well, we're just going to go ahead and bury your face. So at this point, I probably would have teleported, I think. Now you couldn't teleport to the planet because there's a consistent barrier there. So to think that you're going to get past all those barriers in the time it takes, that's not going to happen. So what do you do in this situation? You can't EMP. You're not within range. You can teleport. You can't teleport to the planet, but you sure as hell can teleport north, which you still may be stuck in a barrier. Yeah. And then we've got a ship coming up with no mods. Alright, so these three guys get EMP'd because the barrier burns out. And I think at this point it was probably like, I don't know, I think it was like 3 a.m. when that happened. It was really late in the night. So they get EMP'd, they're stuck there. We got people retreating, the barriers are all not moved north now. We've got reinforcements coming in. So what is your options at this point? Still not seeing that teleport being used. So at this point, there's no point in using the teleport mod. I mean, you could have probably shot here. But Destiny. So Destiny happens. And that takes him down here. So now he's stuck all the way south. But he can leap. So not out of the game yet. Alright, so I feel like I'm nitpicking here. And I'm going to apologize. But the last two things I want to focus on here. The TROLLOLOL. In this little situation that happens down here with Zenzen. Zenzen had a goddamn field day with these squishies. And who I'm talking about is this gentleman right here. And the short little burst of health he's got left. So we still got 2 mods left and a teleport. So what's going to happen here is Zenzen's going to go ahead and teleport. And they're going to try and backpedal to save here. And it works. But because they're grouped up, you can't EMP. Because you're going to EMP yourself. So spread out a bit more. Zenzen immediately comes back for that transport. Throws on an impulse, takes out the transport. Bob's your uncle. He's going to run away again and not worry about it. But now they got a long beeline set for this miner. So I'm thinking at this point, if you're going to dump hydro, you might want to get some guys in the sector here. Because you're in better shape than some of these guys are. So let's go ahead and push them battleships forward, guys. Okay, not happening. So they send one guy in to protect. Zen comes back with his dual laser. And Django over here decides to do a leap. Leap disables you after you finish your leap for 4 hours. So he leaps in. Now that's fine and dandy because the first 2 guys on the planet are going to become the target of the dual laser. Problem is, Zenzen's there with 4 hours to spare. So, well, I guess not 4 hours because the time warp semantics. So they actually end up getting the miner to dump the hydro. And they do Destiny Zenzen, but he does get that miner because he gets him as he's moving away. Yeah, so at this point, Zenzin's holding on by dear life, and he's going to go ahead and Destiny right here, and he's sitting down here. Now, at this point, it was pretty much out for blood. They were pissed off. He's got a ton of squishy kills, and they're like, you're not getting on that leaderboard, Zenzin. You're going to get nommed. There goes Zenzin. Okay, final stand. The last thing I want to talk about, because again, I feel like I'm rambling, is they got 6 relics. Everyone's backing to the gate because we don't carry sanctuary. And so they took this opportunity to bring in some transports to load up some relics. But then we were like, well, we're not going to come back in because there's a leaderboard going on. But then someone was like, well, we could just bring in a different battleship. So they go ahead and bring in some battleships with sanctuary, and we're going to try and troll them to see if we can get a shutout, but that's not going to happen because we were way too far away. And here we go. Get a nice EMP for a guard here. They're going to bring it out, and we got a couple more. Would have been good to have Entrust on these, get them off and not have to worry about this. But what happens right here is we have our fearless leader Kilder with a Leap Destiny barrier. Sanctuary, of course, because we're just doing this for fun at this point. He's going to wait for an opportunity to leap. So when you leap, you have to have a nearby asteroid. And so this is as close as this guy's going to get. And they got barrier up. So let's see. Barrier on the gate. Can't do anything. Breaking the barrier, leaped. So it's like, it was such a small window. And he got in there, and because the Destiny wasn't going to reach anything, whoops, because you can see this, he decided to barrier and stop this transport with 0 seconds, with 2 hours to spare in the White Star, which only netted them 4 relics because of this silly move right here. And there really wasn't anything they could do because his tech was too high. You probably could have, I don't know, 2 hours to spare. You really couldn't get a volley going, although you had all your squishies back. You probably could have got enough rockets off. I don't know. I know there was a lot of discussion, or I shouldn't say a lot. I know there's some discussion about what could have happened in this situation, but I'm thinking there probably could have been more rockets. I don't know. But anyway, 16 minutes, boom. So they only have gotten 4 relics from us, and then the only other thing to note here is they landed on our gate with a goddamn I'm gonna call it the goddamn Legion Destiny Luck is what it's called, because that happened to us in our match versus Legion. But they basically destinied right to our gate. So I'm gonna show you that real quick. You probably might have saw it. I think the destiny was right about. Oh yeah, the destiny was when Zenzin got in the face. So this is the last thing. Boom, there's the destiny. And like at this point, it's like you can't help but go, oh shit. Everyone just had like a mini heart attack in the Discord. But we've been through this so many times. There's no point being on the gate. There's not much that's going to happen on the gate because you're consistently being EMP'd and rocketed. And literally the only option this guy had was to teleport out. But even that, you're dead. The second you get to the gate, when you're facing the right crowd, you're dead. So anyways, holy moly. That took me forever in super critical. So we're going to talk about what the hell happened on our side of the map here. You just see blobs of blue. So everyone is rearing to go here for our Genesis spam. We're going to talk about our relics. So we're going to talk about our Hydro. I mean, Genesis spam happening across the board, as you can see. Everyone brought in the right mods. Everyone did their tell spam. It's a requirement. It's been practiced over and over and over again in Rich. Blah, blah, blah. I don't have anything to point out in terms of someone making mistakes. The next part, your good old pal Rocky makes a goddamn mistake. So at this point we had enough Hydro. Looking at 1100, 1400, almost 16 over here. So the mistake that I made was I brought in teleport instead of barrier, and that's what happens when you get up at 2 a.m. in the morning to make a move on a work day at 5 a.m. But anyway, sorry. So not much to say there. There's the first mistake that I made. I don't think anyone else made a mistake. Yeah, so at this point we've got enough pushed out that we're comfortable enough moving in with our relic game. We decided to go for the 5 instead of the 10 because the 10 is still a kind of a threat. Both 10s, I should say. So we're going to work up to that 5. This was sort of a mission that we were going to go on here, but Rocky screwed that up, so that was out the window. But we're going to dump some Hydro off to this level 5, and you're going to see that generates quite a bit. Are they maxed out? They were almost maxed out at 2k Hydro. Yeah, boys. Those boys. Okay, we got some artillery support going on. So we're still talking about the mining game at this point. Everything gets dumped off. Miners start heading back. We've got relics generating. I mean, we are 3 days left and we've got a ton of relics being loaded up here. So no worries, no worries. Got this was supposed to be a barrier, Mr. Teleport. So we had our first relics heading back halfway through the match. 3 to be precise. And we had no immediate threats coming in. So our relic game was strong. You're going to notice that we went for the sector to the north after we were comfortable enough with what was going on, as well as the other sectors being cleared out. We didn't decide to go for the north right away. I think that's important in comparison to S.B.D. going directly for the southern field when they had no control. So guys got to work on that control. And the relic game. So yeah. The beautiful thing, this little conga line going on right here. So everyone collapses. I think one thing to note here in comparison as well is that you're going to notice that we kind of stopped on this sector before deciding where to go here, whereas this team was sort of, let's spread out, not worry about where they're going to go, we'll act afterwards. So we reacted, I believe, because I didn't make the call, in terms of where they were going. So we spread out depending on mods, as well as reacting to what's going on with their side, and keeping our Genesis spam within a 1 sector radius. And our assassins went north in this case. I'm gonna start calling these the one-sided reviews. Because like, in my breakdown of watching the other side, and it's always so easy to judge from afar, you know, it sounds like I'm talking so much shit, but honestly it's so easy for me to say, well, that's what they did wrong, that's where they could have done better, because I'm not actually on that side of the fence. So I can only apologize so much. But those were the mistakes. I'm thinking about what we could have done better. I mean, the Genesis spam was perfect. The reactions of our battleships were on point. The relic game was obviously on point. We're 37 points up at the end of the match. Other than me screwing up that mod, I'm not privy to any information that says we fudged up real hard. My hat's off to our fearless leader Kildar. I can't even say your name still, and I've been playing you with you for months now. So anyways, in closing, I'm gonna say my principles still stand, even though I'm playing with higher tier players these days, that you don't bite off more than you can chew in terms of setting your waypoints to be multi-sectoral like this. Also, consistently checking your time machine in terms of where you're going, what you're doing, and what's being affected by time warp is so important, as we've seen as these freak EMPs go off, and etc, etc. You can't control life though, you know, you guys, it's a pocket game, so you know those accidental EMPs are going to go off if you get dragged into a meeting with your boss where he tells you that you're doing a shit job, and you know, there's nothing you can do about that. So anyways, thanks so much for listening to me ramble. I do apologize if I sounded like a bit of a dick. But I hope that was a little bit educational for you. And yeah, it's good to be back. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take 57. 9 minutes. It's taken a whole 9 minutes of me failing to do intros to do this. Howdy doody everybody, my name is Rocky and today I'm coming at you with an update video after 2 months of being AFK. I've been not putting out any videos as